So a lot has taken place since the last time we did a video on the Land Rover. The biggest thing probably, other than the fact that we're dead in the middle of stripping out the interior, the wheels and tires, which changed the attitude of the vehicle completely. These are just the Lucky 8 rims in a 16 by 8.5, I believe. Factory Land Rover center caps to cover the lug nuts, because they're just kind of ugly to just look at, and you have that bare hub, and it's not very attractive. So I've covered that with these. It set me back more than I want to talk about. Was it worth it? I don't know. Does it look better? Sure. I also managed to get a killer deal on a set of wheels and tires. So the wheels and tires were actually for a Jeep TJ. These Falcon Wild Peak ATW3s were on some aftermarket TJ wheels, and obviously that lug pattern wasn't going to fit, the offset was going to be wrong, but I already had these wheels that came on the parts Land Rover that I previously acquired, that 2004. So what I did is I spent about $400 on those, and I took the tires off those wheels, and what I did is I then sold those wheels for about $200. Those $250, but when you factor in shipping and everything, I made about $200 off of it. And so I've got about $200 into this set of wheels and tires. It's a 265/75/16. So it gives a good look. We have a 2-inch lift. The stance of the truck is fantastic. It's everything that I need it to be, and I couldn't really ask for anything more. I had thought about going with 33s, but that just seems like a lot of tire, honestly. To me, I have like a threshold. I have a threshold that I don't want to go over. It's a nice Saturday morning. There's a lot of traffic. You know, there's just a ratio that works for everyone, and this works for me. Same way I'm running a 285/75/17 on Silverado, and that is really kind of a perfect tire to lift to vehicle ratio. So these work for this vehicle, I think, and the fact that a Land Rover is already kind of really tall because of the stepped roof. So I had those put on. The Steelies, 16-inch Steelies, works great. They look great, I think. Now, one of the things I've done is I Plastidip them white just to see, you know, how I liked it, because I like the when you see the old Defenders and the series trucks, series vehicles, and they have the white wheels and the white top. So I'm going to do that. One of the other considerations is I can take these all the Plastidip off and run them black on the maroon vehicle, or I can traffic again. I can either take the Plastidip off and run them black, leave them white, or I can paint them body color. Now, of course, the plan is not to leave it Galveston red, because the paint's not in great shape. Right here, someone keyed the vehicle all the way down, and you can see where someone had tried to looked like they started sanding. So eventually I'm going to paint the whole vehicle, but I'm going to do it really cheap, because this is a $200 vehicle for me. I've maybe got $1,000 in the whole thing right now, so I'm going to do it as cheaply as I can while still looking good. And I'm really leaning towards a dark green, because that just looks so good on a Land Rover. And then with the white wheels and the white top, I think we'll be exactly where I want to be appearance wise. Now, I think we're going to go step in and look at the inside of the vehicle. Now, obviously up here, we can see I've pulled the headliner down. It's got the rear AC, so we've got all this ducting run, which got in the way a little bit when I did one of the other modifications, which I'll show you in just a second. So I had to pull some of the AC ducting, and that wasn't a big deal. I think it'll slide right back in, and I can reattach it pretty easily. But so the headliner's out, and I've recovered that. Well, I didn't recover it. What I did is I used Rust-Oleum bed liner, and using that bed liner gives it a durable finish. You know, basically I won't have to deal with sagging roof ever again, which is a big problem with these. You see a lot of people have that problem. So we're just going to tilt the camera back this way, and as you can see, the entire interior is gutted right now. So I've pulled everything apart for cleaning. Big time for cleaning, because the interior was just really bad. Two or three of the windows, if I remember correctly, had been left down. I think a sunroof was open. And you'll have to forgive me if I can't remember all this right away, because I bought the vehicle like 1 year ago. Officially 1 year ago, like 2 days ago. So I can't remember the particulars of exactly how I received it, but this is where we are now. So because all those were left open, it didn't get rained in, but the real problem was that it was in this barn, which was great because it kept it from being rained in. But man, they just, as you've seen in other videos, you know, there's these rat's nests and stuff in the engine bay. Well, those mice and everything, they just ran all through the interior, and it was just really, really roachy looking in here. So I'm in the middle of tear down. I'm kind of at a point where I'm getting real close to being ready to start putting it back together. I've got to pull out the rest of the carpet. The carpet's laid in 3 sections, and this is the front section. And as you can see, once again, it just looks really bad, and it smells really bad, actually. I mean, it smells a lot better now that most of the carpet has been pulled out. But that carpet, you know, just really absorbed a lot of a lot of mouse pee. And so the solution is to pull it all out and replace it with new carpet. It's a black carpet. We're not going back tan. And I'm still not certain, I'm not convinced to go two-tone in the interior yet. I may keep it completely tan. But the carpet is black, and the parts car has a black interior, and I could two-tone it. And the factory two-tone would be the lower panels right here would be black, and then all the upper panels up here would be tan. So we're still, I'm still deciding what I want to do. I do have options, and I love having options. But the other thing is, I'm not sure if the back seats will go back in this. The third row absolutely will not be going back. But I may decide to go back and put the second row in, but probably not right away. So anyway, I'm still anticipating the interior being really nice. You know, a nice place to be. One of my friends said something about, oh, okay, so when I said I was going to pull out the carpet, he says, oh, so you're going to, you know, just leave it with no carpet. That's a good idea for off-roading. And I'm like, well, no, I want it to still be a nice vehicle. As nice as a Landy can be, I guess. You know, which they do have nice interiors. They really do. I'm a little pampered with the Silverado's interior, you know, because the big plushy seats and all that. The other changes that I was telling you about, I put the 04 roof rails on here. And she looks a lot better for it, I think. So I'll put these roof rails on here, and I'm gonna have to take them back off as soon as I go to paint the top white. Now, the previous owner of the 04 had drilled holes, and I'm sure you saw that. There's some tape here, and that's a temporary solution because there's these holes here, and he had a light bar in between the roof rails, which, you know, is fine. I'm sure it worked great. It's not what I want, so I didn't put those back, especially since the light bar was getting really yellowed, and I don't really know what kind of quality it was. But That's a temporary solution, just some electrical tape to keep the water from getting down in that that roof rail and causing me a bunch of more problems with water intrusion, because that's just the #1 thing I don't want. I work on a museum ship, and water intrusion is just the absolute worst. So, and I know it can wreak havoc. There's some other things. There's there's some rust I got to deal with. Just real little spots, nothing crazy. But, you know, it's coming along. It's taken a while, and I'm really bad about when I'm doing something just not pulling out the camera like I should. But you know, it gets hard, you know, you get motivated, you get in the moment, and you're like, okay, well, I'm just gonna, you just get going, you're just doing it. And that's how I am. And so I have a lot of respect for the kind of people that can heavily document what they're doing, because I have a real hard time doing that. Even when I was doing restoration work on the ship, I had a hard time making sure that I took pictures, because I get wrapped up in doing stuff, and I'm like, well, it's, you know, I want to get it done. I want to see it done, because, you know, you get excited. That's kind of where the Landy is at right now. I don't think there's anything else additional that I've done. So other than I did seal the sunroofs, and a lot of people told me, oh, don't do that, you know, dig out the caulk and everything, and you know, just clear the drains, and it's not a big deal to make them functional. And while I agree that that would not be a big deal, for what I want to be a trail rig and kind of a fun toy, I guess, I want to minimize any downtime I'll have. And the last thing I want to ever do again in my entire life is pull that headliner down, because it was not fun. So, and it's so easy to damage it. So my solution is to just seal them. I have a sunroof on the Silverado that I never open, because it got stuck open one time, and I was like, I'm never going to do that again. And so I was like, hey, I'll just seal this, never have to worry about it again. When I had Camaros and I had a Trans Am, when I had those, they all had T-tops, and I never took them off. And a lot of people are, you know, they, you know, have opinions about that, and they think I'm crazy. But you know what? The reality is, for me, down here in the south, the humidity is like 100% all the time on the coast. And, you know, there's several days, multiple days, months, where it'll be 100 degrees outside. And then with the humidity, the temperature is 110, 115 degrees. And I'm just not going to open that kind of stuff. I'm in my cocoon, and I'm running the AC, and that's all there is to it. So for me, this sunroof, T-top, all that, that's not really a big deal. I do kind of like the idea of having the glass. I like the open air feel. However, I have a problem with, on the Silverado, for example, is like the Landy here. She's got a like a dot matrix shade that pulls over, and it's not solid, and it does not block out the sun very well. So on the truck, I have put Plastidip on the glass a few years ago, and it's starting to wear off now. I think I'm just going to take a big piece of vinyl and slap it over the sunroof on the Silverado, because I'm not really that worried about it. The Land Rover is a little more open already because of the Alpine windows, so I want to maintain that. So I'm going to have to come up with some other different solution. Just really going to have to heavily tint the sunroofs and the Alpine windows or something. But I love too much on a cloudy day or a rainy day, enjoying seeing the weather outside with the windows, the unique perspective. Or for that matter, when you're in a really forested area and you can see the canopy above you. Not a lot of places like that down here, but there are a few. So that's where I'm at now on the Landy, and there's still a lot more to do, but I'm hoping to have her fairly drivable in the very near future. Thank you, and I will hopefully update more regularly. So here's hoping more of the Landy and more of the Silverado in the near future.